Good afternoon, CFM. This is Coach Matt with our Thursday workout. Let's begin with a single 600-meter jog and then come back for some rounds of, I have 3 rounds on there, but if it takes too long, we may cut this to 2 rounds, right? Seated heel slides. So we're in the seated position. I want you to be nice and tall, pressing your hands into the ground, one leg out straight, and you're gonna pull your heel to your butt. If you need to elevate your butt just a little bit to get your heel all the way back, that's fine. But slide the heel out, pull the heel back. Slide the heel out, pull the heel back, right? You should feel hip flexor and hamstring igniting when you do that. And next we're gonna go into our seated hip swivels, right? So this is a 90-90 position, and then I'm rotating opposite like that. And then the more I rotate away from the direction my knees are pointing, the more that will stretch me out, right? So my knees are pointing that way, so I'm gonna try to rotate that way, right, to counteract that. And then if I raise my hands up and kind of lean onto this leg that's inwardly pointing at the ground, that's also going to enhance the stretch on that, okay? Next one, band Romanian deadlift. So I got my band, I'm standing on top of both loops and hips up high, practicing that hip hinge movement, right? And we're gonna do the sumo deadlift in the workout today, but for the warm-up, we're gonna do Romanian deadlifts just to stretch out hips and hamstrings. Next one, a little coordination as well as athletic prep stuff. This is how do I land when I'm forced into a snap situation, right? And my goal is that universal athletic position is sort of my default landing position when I stumble or when I slip or when something is unpredictable around me. I default to my universal athletic position because it sets me up the best to be able to respond in some fashion, right? So this is, I slip on the ice and I immediately bend my knees and drop into my power position, right? So snap down is one of the ways that we practice it. So we're gonna start up on our toes with our hands up in the air, and we're going to pretend like we are pulling 2 cables down fast from the ceiling and land in our stable position, right? On round 1, we're doing this basic version where I'm catching on both hands. On round 2 and 3, I want you to do the single leg version. So now I'm up on 2 toes. As soon as I pull, I'm pulling 1 foot off the ground and landing only on the opposite foot. So I'm forcing myself to stabilize this like rapidly dropping body on 1 leg at a time. I want you to get 4 reps on the right, 4 reps on the left of that single leg snap down. It's harder than it looks, okay? When we get through with that, we have sumo deadlift and giant sets today. So giant sets is this thing where we have 1 big functional movement, right? That's our sumo deadlift. And then all the other stuff is core conditioning and accessory. And you kind of work your way through it in the similar way that we do our Flex Friday, but this one is built around pulling movements, okay? So sumo deadlift, I've got a nice wide stance, toes pointed out. Hands are at the same position that they would be for a conventional deadlift. And that bar still tracks right up my legs and I squeeze and lock out, okay? So sumo deadlift is just a wide stance deadlift, nothing fancy on it. And the weight is gonna be relatively light today because we're on our deload cycle. Final deload cycle before the 1 rep max deadlift, which is 3 weeks after our regular training week, which will start the week of the 16th, okay? Next one is gonna be some sandbag stuff. Sandbag lunge and press. This is kind of like a sandbag thruster. And we're gonna do 5 or 8 reps on each side. So I get my sandbag in the front rack position, step back or forward, and then as I come up, I press. Switch legs, up and press. Switch legs, up and press, all right? I would like these to be, the sequence of the movement should be that as my driving leg hip locks out, I initiate my press. Don't wait for the other leg to come forward, right? So don't make it a 2-step lunge. So I don't want it to be like stand up and then push press, right? I want it to be this front leg drives off of my shoulders, okay? Next one, side plank. So just hit your side plank for 20 seconds, stack those feet on top of one another, right? There is a coach's challenge. Oh, toe taps, yeah. Side plank toe taps is our coach's challenge. So from the side plank position, reaching the toe out forward, reaching the toe behind me. Reaching the toe out forward, reaching the toe behind me. I'm just continuing that movement for 20 seconds, okay? All right, next, some additional sandbag work. Bent over sandbag rows, ground to overhead. So from the bent over position, just rowing to my chest and then ground to overhead. I can snatch if I want to, right? Any way you want to do it, ground to overhead, and then finish with 8 strict pull-ups. For today, a range of these, if you can do a handful of strict pull-ups but not 8, practice those. If you can get close to 8, get close to 8 and then add a little band, but every round 8 strict pull-ups, so that just means no kipping today. So dead hang at the bottom, chin over at the top, and that's it, okay? All right, that's our giant sets for today. Have a great one. I'll see you guys on Friday.